Hey guys, welcome to the Musings of Maverick channel. Maverick here, and bringing to you a potentially new series in BEASTARS. So, before we begin, since I'm sure there's some new guys here, just to give you a quick overview of the format I usually do my videos in. In the beginning, I'll have my introduction or recap of the last episode, I'll have my blind reactions in the middle, and at the very end, I'll have a discussion session or musing section where I talk about various things maybe related to the episode, in terms of the references, in terms of the concepts that they're talking about, and perhaps some predictions and theory crafting as well. And you can just skip to whichever part that you like. So, let's talk a little bit about BEASTARS, right? Now, originally I wasn't going to be watching this series, because, well, it's a bunch of anthropomorphic animals, right? And it just seems like furry bait for one thing, and for another, well, it's just not quite something I'm that interested in, right? However, I do know that the original work, the manga that it was adapted from, seems to be held in high regard. The tags, I read the synopsis of this basically, and the tags for this specific show include, among other things, psychological and slice of life. Now, I watch both of them, and I like both of these kinds of genres, but added together, is that actually something that's good? I don't know. I don't think I've watched anything that had these two tags added together at the same time. Or, I mean, I have watched some, but I don't know if there's any that I feel like are very good that have these two at the same time. So, we shall see, right? Beyond that, I don't, it's made by Orange Studios, the same studio that brought us Huseki no Kuni, which is critically acclaimed, although the studio, as far as I know, has less reputation in its other works. For the rest, the staff and whatnot, not really too much to say there, although the music composer for this series, Kusaki-san, is actually the same one who made the music for the Monogatari series, as well as some idol series such as Idolmaster and Wake Up Girls as well. So, potentially, at the very least, we'll have the music to look forward to. Which seems to be a recurring theme for the anime that I'm watching this season, right? Relatively unproven studios or directors, but with always a good sound director, sound producer, or music composer on board. So, hey, at the very least, we'll have a nice audio experience, right? So, anyways, is it any good or not? Well, let's find out together. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. I did watch the promotional video for this, so I saw this part. A wolf and a rabbit. I know these are two of the main characters. The wolf is the male lead. The rabbit, I believe, is the female lead. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, since this is a Netflix exclusive, I do have it, but of course it's not officially subbed. So, or, the quality and whatnot. So I'm using a fan sub in this case by post-apocalyptic subs. They did a great job with Carol and Tuesday last season, so I'm going to continue to use their subs. What is this? Sort of like a goat? Is that a llama? Interesting use. Man, this music. Mm. I couldn't quite make out what animal that was. Like a bear? Hmm. That's the cafeteria. Herbivores. This looks ridiculous, honestly. A seafood veggie plate? Okay. I think it's better to translate it as, sea inspired or something. Ocean inspired. Not literally seafood. Otherwise, it wouldn't be herbivores. Well, I see quite a few carnivores here. Okay. Legacy. Carnivores forbidden. I mean, you're literally in front of your dormitory. And the end, I bet he just wants to ask her out, right? Hmm? Hmm. Okay, never mind. He's just acting as a bro. This would mean Tim trusted this guy pretty well, right? You know, I think there are a few animals that are a bit more lethal than a wolf that I saw back there, but okay. Yeah, these two probably had a pretty good bromance going on, right? Maybe, maybe not. Man, if nothing else, they dress very stylishly. Mm-hmm. What's gonna happen here? Ah, this is the rabbit, right? April 9th. Ooh, really? I thought they didn't live together though. Aren't herbivores and carnivores? Haru. I thought those were herbivores? Huh. What's with okay? What's with this girl? I mean, isn't that literally a cat? Cats aren't herbivores. Ah, okay. Harlequin rabbits. This is literally like high school or something. Drama club. Seriously, gobbling up the screen. Okay, this guy has a bad temper. Man, I like this dude. Is he actually going to become the actor? Mhm. Okay, interesting. Okay. So she's supposed to be like a beauty or something? Huh.
ああ、これがバレたら演劇部活動停止じゃね？そして俺は低学区か。早くしてくれ。あの事件以来先生の身も厳しくなってるし。
Okay, so we're gonna get back to like the beginning of the very start of this episode, right? Okay. I'm guessing this is something that is going to cause him to go berserk? Act Okay, activating his animal instincts, especially his carnivore instincts. Hmm? And we're ending here? Dang. I actually really want to know what happens. Okay. I'm actually really intrigued by this. There's actually quite a few voice actors that I like as well in this. Oh my god, this is a great ending song as well. But since there's literally no video to go along with this, I'll just listen to this on my own, and if there's anything else at the end, I'll see you guys then. And well, there we go. BEASTARS episode 1. And right off the bat, let me just say this, it went much better than I expected, right? I came into this not really expecting much, since, again, it's not particularly something that I'm interested in regards to the premise, in regards to character designs or whatnot, and it's CGI as well, but I came away pretty damn impressed, right? Let's talk about the CGI first, because I'm sure that there's some people who are turned off by CGI compared to some normally drawn animation. But I gotta say, the CGI used here it's not like the best I've ever seen, but it's pretty damn well adequate enough, right? And I especially like the concentration on facial expressions within this anime, right? The CGI used here, you can clearly make out the emotions that the characters are supposed to be expressing, like fear, like disdain, pride, hatred, arrogance. It's all on their faces, right? And of course, the voice actors did a great job of portraying this as well. But it's I feel like just that in itself enough to say, okay, this is some pretty good CGI, right? It's definitely not low quality in a sense. So on that part, I feel like it's definitely doing pretty great. The only part that maybe is kind of cheesy was when Legosi was transforming, right, like getting awakened by that that smell from the fountain or whatever, that scent from the fountain that sent him into a frenzy. That part was more meh to me, but overall, in terms of the actual anime itself, I didn't have any problems with it whatsoever. But then again, I'm not that big of a anti-CGI person, right? But anyways, for me, I look at this and I say, okay, it's doing a pretty good job of doing what it's supposed to do, right? And then the music, man, I already came into this saying that the music was probably something that we were going to, I was looking very forward to, especially in lieu of the composer. But man, it's so good here. Out of all the anime that I've seen this season, this might be my favorite so far in just one episode. Like, it's so good, starting from the very beginning, where you have this, you have this sort of climax immediately where somebody gets killed, and the strings inspired, making a very the strings inspired kind of background music, making a very daunting and haunting kind of atmosphere. You get into the suspense scene with Legosi and Else, the part where he was handing the letter to her, and the music there was also used very well as well. And then you get to the ending scene, right, with the scene between Haru and Legosi, and then again, it's not, because we all know that it's not just gonna end here, right? So instead, it's a music piece, it's very flute driven and or woodwind driven, and it's really just, I don't know how to describe it. It's just perfect for the scene, right? The music in this episode so far has been spot on. Absolutely spot on. And the ending song, which I believe is actually the opening song, man, that was a great banger, right? It's like big band or show tunes inspired pop, and it's just great, right? Really, in terms of the music for this episode, I'm gonna have to give it a 10 out of 10 right here. Of course, and hopefully it will continue to carry on within the later episodes as well. But just right now, I'd say the CGI is better than expected, and the music is absolutely stellar, right? Now, as for the actual, the actual story and whatnot and characters, it's quite intriguing, right? I definitely like the way that the characters were portrayed. Not too much unnecessary dialogue, right? Not too much exposition. The exposition that's given is pretty well integrated into the flow of the dialogue, so it feels natural. We naturally learn about a lot of stuff without them, seeming like they're just explaining things to the camera, right? And I feel like that's very important in terms of the flow of an anime. Lots of anime don't do this very well, and it just ends up very contrived and artificial. Here, no, it's absolutely smooth all the way through, and through various little things that they show, right? Various little actions that the characters have. We can know a little bit more about their actual characters, their actual personalities and whatnot. We know that Legosi is, a pretty timid guy for the most part, but when he needs to, he still has his carnivore tendencies. We know Haru is this girl, lady, I guess I should say girl, who really just wants to be independent. All things considered, we know that she has a strong personality and whatnot. What's the name of the senpai actor? Lewis, I believe. So Lewis, we can see that he's pretty, he's pretty confident. Is he actually full of himself to the point where it's getting on people's nerves? Maybe not. So far, it seems that he's still, even though he's being very harsh and strict and whatnot, it seems that he's still, he's not overtly so, right? It's about, as we can expect from someone who is both in the, as a senpai to others and someone who's really taking this seriously, right? So, it's easy to say that perhaps Lewis is going to be one of those assholes that we should hate on, but I would reserve judgment for now, right? And yeah, the character so far has, and the dialogue, the interactions and whatnot have been on point, right? Really nothing to complain there at all. The only complaint I actually have is, getting very confused as to why some of the animals are being classified as herbivores when they should clearly be carnivores, right? For instance, the gang that went up to sort of bully Haru, right? We can clearly see that there's a cat with them as well, and the cat was also living within the dormitory, which we clearly saw just a few scenes before that, no carnivores were allowed within the herbivore dormitory, right? And I don't know about you guys, but for me, a cat is very clearly a carnivore, right? So, kind of confusing on that part, but at the end of the day, it's not that important, I guess. It hasn't really affected my appreciation of the story and of the anime so far. It's just something that I wish they could have maybe cleared up a little bit more. And in terms of the actual story that's being shown here, right now, obviously we can get this sort of divide between the carnivores and herbivores. Knowing that the male lead and female lead are, a carnivore and a herbivore respectively, we can already sort of piece together clues that it's probably going to be a case where these two try to resolve their differences and, in effect also resolve the differences between these two classifications of animals as a whole on the campus, right? So it's probably going to be this sort of story of prejudice and whatnot, and potentially, I don't know, I'm already thinking that perhaps there's going to be some romance between the rabbit and the wolf, and then they're going to encounter some problems because they're from different classifications, something of that sort. Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to see how that plays out. And in terms of the actual mystery that's being shown here, right? Now, my guess right now is that there's actually some third party trying to force an agenda here, right? Like maybe declaring the supremacy of carnivores as, the top of the food chain, right? So everybody should be listening to them or whatnot. That's definitely the most easiest explanation I can see right now, right? We have this so-called food chain in nature as well, and carnivores are always at the very top of the food chain, right? So in this sort of situation where they're sort of equal to each other, perhaps there could be some extremist groups, some fringe groups who are trying to return things to nature state of things, right? And so that could potentially be what's going on, but I assume we'll know a little bit more within the next episode. So there we go. That was my review of episode 1 of BEASTARS. Definitely going much better than I expected, and I think there's a pretty good chance that I will pick this up as a regular series, right? But as usual, I'll give it, a two or three episodes of a test trial to make my decision in the end. So there we go. That was my review of episode 1 of BEASTARS. Thank you guys to all my viewers who actually recommended this to me and said that I should watch it. I was sort of on the fence, and you guys convinced me to watch it, and definitely I am impressed so far with what I see. So, on that note, I'll see you guys next week as well. Bye-bye.